Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another.
We start to step outside of that comfort zone and start changing those habits. Our perspective can change, and it should change.
You just keep living that life. That's kind of the definition of insanity, because you're expecting people to talk to, well, people sometimes get in their own bubbles.
Sometimes friendships are for a season of life, and they're not meant to last. I was lonely. I experienced a loneliness I hadn't experienced in a really long time.
Being able to network and connect to those people has been immensely fruitful.
The wide road leads to hell, and the narrow road leads to heaven.
Illiteracy today is not the inability to read, it's the inability to learn, unlearn, and relearn something. Welcome back to another episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. I am your co-host, Brian Owen, alongside my wife, Kersha.
Hi.
We've flipped roles in different seats. This is confusing. We're going to see how today goes. I don't know. It's fall.
We are intentionally stepping outside of our comfort zone.
We'll go with that. Yeah, sounds good. I'm wondering for our viewers, subscribers, listeners, it's fall in Kansas City, which means fall is not typical fall. It's hot one day, cold the next day, warm during the day, cool at night. And some of us are warm-blooded people, and others of us are cold-blooded people.
You got that right.
So I don't know if you guys have this issue of furnace, heat, air, AC, on, off. That's the battle in our home right now. It's real. It's legit. It's happening. It happened earlier today. Somebody turned the heat on, and it's the afternoon, and
It remained the same temperature as what he had set earlier. I just made
something
it
about cool air moving.
a hot 72 instead of a cold 72.
Hot. Sweating. It's fine. It's okay. It's all right. So we're going to go with today.
But it goes with our topic today of iron sharpens iron.
I was going to do a drum roll, but you didn't let me do that. That's fine. So
Well,
it's fine.
sorry. Too
Maybe
late.
We'll edit that out. Probably not, but it's fine. Yeah, iron sharpening iron is the topic. So how have you been up to this point?
Well,
I've been gone.
great.
So if you're going to update them on kind of what's been happening, it's been crazy at our house.
Okay, I don't know if any of you go through this, but while he was gone, I felt like half of me was missing. Like I was lonely. I experienced a loneliness I hadn't experienced in a really long time.
Yeah, it's been several years since I've done something like
And
that.
how do you experience loneliness with 5 children? And my wonderful mother-in-law came and spent the entire week with me to help me do all the things and run the kids everywhere. And so how do you do that and still feel lonely?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
It's like half of my soul was missing while he was gone.
so it's deep.
And why don't you tell them how?
I was very relaxed. I was on a mountainside. My dad and I was very blessed. I'm so thankful, and I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for my mom. They put this together. It surprised me way back in the spring for my birthday. For my dad and I to go on an elk hunting trip, and so we got to spend a week together out in the mountains in Colorado. Just a phenomenal time. And I like nature. I like being outdoors. And so when she was like, I've missed you. And I was like, I was unplugged. But I was in a location where there'd be a point I'd be on a side of a mountain and all of a sudden I'd get cell service and I could text or pick up messages that would come through or messages I had sent thinking they went through. Yeah, they didn't go through. And that's fine. It's okay. But
It's okay. His words today are very contradictory to the messages he sent me while he was away.
Yeah, I did. I did miss you.
I miss you.
I do.
I really miss you.
I missed you. I missed the kids. I'm not gonna lie.
You just wanted us by your side.
Yeah, if I could have just packaged them up and put them. Now that wouldn't have happened because I wouldn't have even seen a squirrel because it had been so noisy. But there wouldn't have been any lack of. No, it just would have been crazy. So yeah, but yeah. So it was good. It was a recharge for me, just for my personal self. So I know we've talked about that in past episodes where people get recharged, but today specifically kind of jumping into the iron sharpening iron. And Proverbs 27:17 says, As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And I think just this is an area I find people tend to kind of sometimes shy away from, because when iron sharpens iron, there are sparks, there is friction, there is
Conflict.
Conflict. Yeah, I lost.
There's
the word I was
also
gonna say.
conflict resolution.
Yeah, but this all spun up. Kersha and I were talking about it. And I said, I was listening to a message this morning, and it got to talking about just people not taking their eyes off themselves, being very self-absorbed. And I think there are lots of times I've gone into a grocery store or Best Buy or whatever it might be you go into, and it's like you run in and you get what you need and you come out. And it's I'm in, I'm out, head down, I'm looking for the shortest line. You get frustrated when there's nobody to check you out and it's self-checkout, and then it's like we don't talk, you've literally talked to no one, or we're on our phone the whole time. Mm-hmm. And I've had mentors in my life that have challenged me in when you go in somewhere to stop, to put your phone down, to stop and pray. Actually, a pastor at our church talked about this. Pastor Sean talked about stopping and praying before you go into a business and saying, God, how can you use me in this place? And I think that, to me, was iron sharpening iron. People were challenging me. Mentors, my pastor, they were challenging me. And yeah, if you just keep living that life, that's kind of the definition of insanity. And because you're expecting people to talk to, well, people sometimes get in their own bubbles. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, we had a conversation around bubbles today too. Anything you want to add to that?
Well,
or what I just shared?
I think it's our comfortability, honestly, that it's very comfortable for us to just get into our rhythms, do what's comfortable for us, and live essentially inside of our own self-created bubble that just, it's self-absorbed in a lot of ways. It's our cyclical lifestyle of to and from. And when we step outside of that comfort zone, much like we change spots, and I just love, he came around the corner and he was like,
this is what we're doing today.
This is what we're doing today. Not knowing that I had put some thought into, we need to switch spots and change it up.
There's a lot of, I got a sidebar here. There's a lot of things that come into her brain that don't even come close to entering my brain. For instance, a concert coming up and she's like, did you know these dates? I'm like, no, I hadn't even thought of that. And she puts all these puzzle pieces together. We leave a church event and she's like, did you hear this and think about this and things that God's spoken to us? It's like, no, it was a good dinner and great fellowship. I don't know, very simple, obviously very complex in a good way.
I like how you put in a good way.
In a good way.
No, I am a deep thinker.
Yes, you are.
I do like to
It hurts my brain to think that deep.
Complex thought processes, though. Yeah. I like for my brain to be challenged. Anyways, so when we go through that rhythm, that's a way of keeping me kind of out of setting into a comfortable comfort zone, is challenging my thought processes and thinking about life a little different and looking at things differently. Because when you look at life differently from different perspectives, you can relate with other people as well in the perspectives that maybe they look at life, or they look at certain situations or certain circumstances that they have going on in their life. But when we start to step outside of that comfort zone and start changing those habits, our perspective can change, and it should change. And I think that is a challenge that we were challenged with many years ago, and it's something that you have done remarkably well. It has increased your network immensely.
Well, it was always a comment. I remember people would always say, gosh, you just know everybody, or you talk to everybody. That was what people, you just talk to everybody.
Our children also say this.
Which is true. I do. I don't really know a stranger. Which I think kind of sped into today, or led into today. It led into today.
It's okay.
that
You
I think
usually...
that I think people, it's uncomfortable to get out of your social norm. The social norm is I just go get what I need and I go home, or it's home to work and work to home. And I was challenged early on, early in our marriage, as we were getting around people that had fruit in their life that we wanted that fruit. We wanted fruit from their tree, and it was good fruit. And they just said, it's kind of, again, if you always do what you always done, you always get what you always got. And if you're not willing to change that or try something new, we're all going to fail. And I think failure today in society, failure is still known as such a bad thing. And yes, there are pieces that are bad in failure, but failure is a good thing in our world because you're trying, you're attempting certain things.
Failure is the ability, if you fail at something, it's the ability to pick up and learn from it. Failing and walking away is not a reasonable choice that we allow our children to do. So if you miss the ball, you try again.
Yeah.
And if we continue to miss the ball, then we're going to talk about why we're missing the ball. If you, like our girls did competitive cheer, if their stunt fell, why did your stunt fall? What can you do to make that better? Were you at fault for it? Yeah. How could you be better? And not really pointing the finger and assigning blame, but making sure that they're looking at it from outside of their position in the stunt. Their positioning in their tumbling, their positioning in the overall choreography of the competitive routine.
Choreography, I like that. That's a new word. Choreography?
Choreography? Choreography?
Choreography? Choreography?
Choreography? Yeah,
Whatever
I guess
it
I
is.
did say it wrong.
Whatever it is, it's fine.
Okay. See,
It's okay.
Look, we create new words
She
here.
creates words that I think Webster's probably going to be calling about here before too long. But no, I mean, again, I think that the failure aspect, people are afraid of it. Because it's been so ingrained that failure is a bad thing.
Which is a social norm.
It is a social norm, and I get it. School has ingrained it in us for 13, 14, 15 plus years of our life. That's what you've known. That's where we were challenged with, are you willing to, what was that? Illiteracy today is not the inability to read. It's the inability to learn, unlearn, and relearn something was illiteracy today in the 21st century. And I thought that was a powerful statement. Illiteracy today is the ability to learn something, unlearn it, and relearn something new. People get so stuck in their ways. And I think, in my personal opinion, it's the 6 inches between our two ears that when we're out in community, the conversations inside of our head that prevent people from talking. I don't want to disturb them. I don't want to bother somebody. I wouldn't want to interrupt their day or their schedule or what they're doing. I had to get over that myself. It was a fear I had early on. And I did. I would just, hi, how are you? Or, gosh, it's a genuine compliment. You see somebody with a hat or, some
a compliment sandwich.
But or fancy. But I'm meaning a genuine compliment, not just a, hey, cool shirt, and you don't even care about Pearl Jam or Metallica or
right. You need to be authentic in it.
Say Ferris Bueller, and you have no context. Like that's being genuine with it. So many funny stories pop in my head. I'm just thinking about some people that we've heard hilarious stories about, but it's just stepping out of your comfort zone and having that conversation. Because at the end of the day, you don't know whose life you impact.
Right.
Through, hi, how are you? To maybe it's just a smile and an acknowledgement of a person. And I'm talking, it could be a janitor in a building. It could be a busser at a table. It could be, just people in a restaurant. We've had an interaction with a guy at a restaurant that is really cool and waited on us. And had we not said anything to really further the conversation than just, hi, what do you need to eat or to drink? When you take a genuine interest in someone, it was amazing the doors that opened up. And we don't know where that's going to lead. That's a story still to be written.
we're talking to him now about us hosting him on a podcast because
phenomenal story
of his phenomenal backstory. And we just think that it's important for people in the community to recognize and realize that not everybody comes from the same walk of life. And even though you come from the same walk of life, you don't have the same outcome.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important. So talk to me about the iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So I think having people, I've always been told having 5 people of influence in your life. Some people call them fingers, webs, networks, whatever. And back to kind of what I was saying earlier of people like, gosh, you just talk to everybody. But you don't know who that person can connect you to. It is phenomenal. Chad Johnson, and shout out to Chad Johnson, works with the John Maxwell organization. And he invited me to a call a couple weeks ago now. And he's known as the hub in the Maxwell organization. And it was a great analogy that popped in my mind. I mean, that's how I kind of feel too. I'm a hub. I'm that connector to different people of, hey, I've got someone, and that's kind of stuck in my mind is who is it I know that somebody else should know, and who is it they know that I should know. And I think just that simple context, that piece was given to me, and the challenge was set of like, go out and just impact people's lives, encourage them, give them hope, and listen to them. And then through that sharpening of myself, you go back and you have to refine things, and you would talk to a mentor. But those 5 people, be it a pastor, a financial advisor, just people that they're not just you and I. They're not just in your nucleus in that same run of life. You want to surround yourself with people that are outside of it, people that can bring you perspectives. And sometimes it can be a hard perspective. Sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow. I've had many of those nights where we've had conversations, and the 2 of us are stuck in the muck, but it's sometimes that outside, nugget or wisdom.
They typically have sage wisdom. These people are typically ahead of us in years and ahead of us in
experience,
but
not always. Because there are some people that it's just the gift has been given. Soul. They have an old soul, an old spirit. It's just they just have this natural ability to look beyond their years. Whereas most will just kind of get stuck in this. I'm Monday through Friday working, and then I'm work hard and play hard mentality. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you get stuck in that cycle, 20 years go by like that, and you look back and you think, gosh, I haven't accomplished anything, or I wanted to do something. And I think that is just being able to network and connect to those people has been immensely fruitful, not only in our personal life, in our professional life, in our financial realm, but just the social impact. I mean, what's led into this, the starting of this podcast, and a shout out to Larry Levine. He was the door opener early on, and I worked with him on the early days back in the company I worked for, and Larry did some coaching with us, and then he's opened the doors through conversations that I had with him and a friend of mine that I worked with. Just he was the one the conduit that opened the doors here, and I wouldn't have that if I hadn't been challenged to go do these different things.
Right.
Along the way.
Right. If you hadn't been on a personal growth journey that caused you to grow, to step outside your comfort zone, to have people that would bring hard truths to you that sharpened you. Yeah. But also, I think that there are sometimes we as people, we shy away from conflict because it's just easier to not have it. And we don't want to look at as being dramatic, right? Like air quotes, dramatic. But there's a way in which you're being dramatic and everything is offensive to you. And then there is a way in which, like, hey, I need to lay a boundary down. I didn't appreciate the way that you handled this situation, and move on from it. It doesn't have to be this long drawn out process. It doesn't even have to be more than just a, hey, I didn't appreciate it. And that's okay. That's laying down healthy boundaries in friendships, in relationships, in a lot of ways. Like we're working with our 15-year-old and teaching her that sometimes friendships are for a season of life, and they're not meant to last. And it's hard for her to understand that, because in the life that she's lived, she hasn't moved away and had to start all over. She had a change from public school to homeschool, and a lot of those friendships kind of changed along the way, but it wasn't this hard pressed cut. And oftentimes in our high school years, we really start learning what is a good friendship and the difference between having a quality friendship and being friendly. How do you be kind to everybody, but only keep your friends, the people that earn that spot, how do you keep them close to you? And how every single friendship can look different.
Well, you mentioned friendships are there for a season or a reason. Sometimes it's just to learn things. And I think you have helped me in those boundaries. I know there's several books out there that are written about boundaries and boundaries and dating, things like that. I would highly encourage people, if they haven't read those are great reads. Boundaries in dating, boundaries in child raising. I mean, just the whole gamut. But
Just boundaries.
But I think, and just boundaries. But I think you have been a really good example for me in just really standing up for yourself. Whereas sometimes people just kind of like, oh, it's okay, it'll change. Kind of the naiveness. And you have to stand up for yourself, because no one else is going to. You do it for our kids in a phenomenal way. That still amazes me. I mean, the mama bear comes out of you for sure. But
You mess with me. Don't mess with my kids.
that's right.
Or my husband.
But I think there are components that people just tend to, just sweep it under the rug instead of addressing it head on, and not making a mountain out of a molehill. That's not what you're meaning.
But what happens is, if you just constantly are sweeping the same thing underneath the rug, every time you pass through that doorway, you trip over it. And that's when it starts to become a mountain.
Yeah.
Because all of that is getting collected, and then resentment builds up inside of you, and then you end up snapping because you didn't just handle the simple thing of, hey, I just really didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
And in the ways of which taking your eyes off of yourself, because I want to really bring this message back to how do we take our eyes off of ourselves, is how you handle that conflict, or how you handle that resolution, or how you handle that matter in, whether it be your personal life, your business life, your marital life, your relationships with your children. How you handle it is, when you say it, you put it in such a manifestation where you have their feelings at the forefront of what it is that you're going to say. Instead of attacking them, you let them know, hey, I didn't appreciate this. I can see where, from your perspective, maybe you thought that was okay, but here's why I don't think it is okay. And you don't have to be dramatic and mad and emotional about it. And I think that we all handle our emotions a little bit different. Some of us have to sleep on them. Some of us have to take a long shower and kind of wash all of that emotion out of us a little bit. In a literal sense, I'm that way. Like, if I get overstimulated, I have to go take a shower, and I have to come back and press in unstimulated. And in so many ways, by bridging, taking your eyes off of yourself, but still speaking for yourself, right? Like, I think it's clear that we have to do both, right? And sharpening that other person, either it be as a friend, as a marital partner, as a child, you are sharpening them by teaching them how to think be on themselves as well, which is helping them take their eyes off of themselves. And in that friction, it is the two swords are getting sharpened.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's deep-rooted friendships form when those challenges come up.
Yeah.
Be it a relationship, be it friends, family, whatever. But there are some family members, people that when they handle conflict, they slam doors, they storm out, they leave, they flee the situation. And it's maybe not them intentionally, it's maybe what they've experienced all through their life because no one has challenged them.
They were never taught how to receive criticism.
That's true.
And criticism is healthy.
Yeah.
It does help shape us.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be critical in the criticism. You can be gentle in it.
Yeah. And I think some of that is also a little bit of vulnerability too. People have to come to some kind of a vulnerable state and be willing to, in lack of better words, fillet yourself open,
Transparent.
to help others help you. And it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. Nothing about sharpening ironing is easy if you're doing it right, if you're doing it well. And that's I think of a statement that Pastor Sean has even said at our church. Like if you're just coming to church and you're happy and you're excited and you just get the message and you go home and this is great and this is, all rainbows and puppy dogs. He's like, then you're not truly listening to my message because I should be challenging you to some degree.
Right.
Not in every message, but there should be some points where you're like, I don't know. It makes you think about things.
And if you are attending a church that your ideology is just being confirmed and affirmed,
Yeah.
then you are on the road to the very wide, okay, where everybody is going. If you are being shaped and your thought processes and how you do things is becoming sharper and more defined, then you know that you're on the road to the straight and narrow. And the Bible talks about the wide road leads to hell and the narrow road leads to heaven. Yeah. And so those are things to think about.
Yeah.
And I know that that's a hard truth, probably, and maybe really hard for a podcast, but I'd rather you hear it than not hear it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're not going to hear it here, you need to hear it somewhere.
Well,
hopefully it's somewhere.
And it's all rooted in love.
Oh, yeah.
Because
and
God loves every single one of you. And through me, I want people to feel loved.
Yeah. We all make mistakes. No one is perfect.
Right.
We're definitely not perfect. And those that know us know we're not perfect.
What's the saying? We are sinners that sometimes, or we are saints that sometimes sin.
Yes. Saints that sometimes sin.
Yes.
But there is love, there is grace. I was actually shared, one of the guys who was out with us in Colorado was talking about God's grace and mercy is big enough to help absorb anything that's out there. Any negative, any bad, any challenges. But I can't be, forgiven of this, or I can't talk to this person about that. Yes, you can. It's just taking that step and not letting that battle in your mind hold you back. Not letting that self-doubt, that self-talk prevent you from having that conversation.
Right.
And doing it in a loving manner, for sure. Anything in closing?
My challenge to you guys is just that you would figure out a way in which you could be stretched and step outside of your comfort zone, whether it's changing seats at church, whether it is taking a different route to work, saying hi to the person checking you out at the grocery store and actually asking them how they're doing. I would just challenge you to step outside your comfort zone, and then what irons are currently in the fire that might help sharpen you as a Christian and or sharpen somebody else as a Christian. Or bring them to faith.
Okay. I was thinking, who can you contact? Who can you get together with? Sit down for coffee, sit down for lunch, whatever it is, or just talk on the phone, maybe FaceTime. Who is it you could talk to that maybe could challenge you or I need a, accountability partner, or I need just a friend or a buddy to listen to me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that can open doors to things. And you're talking about the grocery store person. I'm thinking like in the pharmacy line, anywhere, the bank, just anywhere you are that's outside of your home, impact somebody. Say hi, smile, and change their day.
Yeah.
So until next time, thank you for joining us on another episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. If anything impacted you or struck something, please forward it along, help grow our community. That's how our community has grown. Subscribers and followers are able to latch on to us. So again, thank you for watching an episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. Take care.
Bye.